Okay, welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner Classic. That's Noon Classic. This is episode number 1436 and Doubleshot number 1330. You're probably thinking it's Thursday and you're doing a video on Thursday? Was this a day off that you scheduled? No. Was this a scheduled day off? No. One of the managers told me just take day off. Despite the fact they had told me to come in at 9. Yeah, it's been kind of weird lately in my work. Why they've been cutting back my hours for like no reason. After working doing 40 plus hours, like for a long time, and now they're cutting back on it for like no reason. I don't know why. All right, moving on. Okay, let's just talk about the two trades here. All right, first up is the trade that I have reviewed a lot of volumes of this series. I'd say most of the trades of this particular trade series. And this is the second to last one to review for this one because there's technically one left. But this is also the final trade, the collect issues from the original writer who wrote this book. Excuse me, I'm thinking, which writer and which series? Glad you asked. Superman / Batman Volume 1. These issues, of course, are all written by Jeph Loeb. Yes, this contains the first 13 issues of the series. Yeah, 13 out of 87, and a short story of When Clark Met Bruce. This, simply put, took the first two trades for Superman and Batman, which were World's Finest, which was later retitled to the Public Enemies, and Supergirl, and put them into one trade. Plus, they included an issue that was skipped over for some reason. Yeah, the series would do this for some reason. Despite the fact Loeb wrote this issue and 26. Where for like no reason at all, the issue itself was skipped in the trade for like no reason. The first story arc takes the first 6 issues of the series and mostly put his heavily ties to the DC Universe. Now you read the storyline, wait, this storyline looks very familiar. Okay, the main villain of the storyline is Lex Luthor, and he's the president. And he does stuff very similar he does in a movie that came out several years ago. A movie called Superman Batman Public Enemies. Because the depth is very stark. There was a lot of characters who appear in the story arc who don't appear in the movie. One of those characters happens to be the Conrad Superboy. Yep, he does not appear at all. I don't think he actually made first appearance in one of the movies until like the Reign of the Superman. I think that was the first one. Yeah, plus the story was slightly altered a bit, where they included his election. Now, at this point, Lex Luthor had been president of the United States since 2000, and who in real life was elected president of the United States in real life? George Bush. Oddly enough, George Bush never appeared in a DC comic. Nope, never did. Barack Obama did, but not George Bush. Yeah, DC, what can you do is they feature, like, a lot of time they do feature real-life presidents. Like, they feature Ronald Reagan. They feature Clinton. I don't think they feature the first George Bush. No. But a lot of time they do feature presidents. Heck, Marvel featured George Bush, though it was a parody of him. But at least they featured George Bush. The only president today they never featured in the comic, though I wouldn't be surprised if they featured the idiot in office, is the guy who basically he took the office from, Donald Trump. Though he has been in comics, independent comics, mind you. He appeared in Image. He has his own comic, Trump's Triumphs, I think it's called. Yeah, Donald Trump. I'm not going to talk about much about Donald Trump here. It's just that basically what happened last year with the election was really stupid. But I'm not going to talk about here. Let's talk about comics. So, one of the things Lex says both in the movie and here, makes out with Amanda Waller for like no reason. No, in the movie, basically, he did like a little bit later in the story. Here, they put now. Here's the thing: the artwork for this story is done by Ed McGuinness, who's a really good artist. I met him in person. If I get a chance to me, I'm basically having him sign this book here. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, by the way, the first villain that Superman fights is Metallo. Just like in the movie, yeah. First villain he fights is Metallo. Here's some sample of Ed McGuinness drawing Superman. Now, I should point out, though, this is not the only series that Ed McGuinness and Jeph Loeb worked together on. They also worked on Hulk, when the Red Hulk was there. They worked on Superman during Jeph Loeb's run of the book, and he also worked on the Emperor Joker crossover. Excuse me. I think that's it, and I think the most recent comic he worked on was he worked on Jason Aaron's Avengers, where he was a writer. He was the artist for a lot of the time in the book. He was one of the artists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, the way they draw Metallo here, well, Ed McGuinness draws him, it's like the Metallo who appeared on Superman the Animated Series. Yep. Though I should also point out, though, in the movie, Superman was accused of killing Metallo. Here, Metallo himself didn't actually die. Nope, he didn't. He was wounded. But here's the thing. Like in the movie, they have this meteorite pop up. Though it looks a little different in the movie, per se. And this is by far the biggest chunk of Krypton ever to hit the planet. Yeah, but here's the thing. It only happens just as one story. They haven't really appeared since then. Mm-hmm. And yes, like in the movie, they do feature Captain Atom and Major Force. Mm-hmm. Yes, two people in the comics are actually, should point out though, they're enemies. Yep. So, if you read this, like, if you watch me, like, man, this looks very familiar. Like them going through a tunnel, Superman getting electrocuted. Yeah, the half movie too. Though here's the thing: in the movie, in the comic, there's a bounty put on their head, and in the comic it was like $1 billion. And he have appearance by the Kingdom Come Superman for an issue. Yes, he briefly fights Superman. And he gets sent back. You know, I know this is the Kingdom Come Superman because he's got gray in his hair and he's got black in the S. Yep. That's why I know this is the Kingdom Come Superman. Also, this character actually did not actually appear in the original movie. In the movie. Nope, never did. This comic came out a few years before the movie did. You probably know, okay, wait, is that the 60s Batmobile? Oh, yes, definitely. He basically wrecks the freaking car. Yeah, and then about partway through the storyline, we have the bounty put on the head of Superman and Batman. And then they're attacked by Silver Banshee. Lovely woman this is. Yeah, John Byrne created this character. During a period of time when Action Comics was a team-up comic, and the issue she appeared in was the only issue during that period of time from, I think it was like 584 to 600, that she appeared in the only issue that was not a team-up issue. Nope, it's just a regular standalone issue of Action Comics. Of course, she's not the only one. Oh, no. We also have appearance by Mr. Freeze, Captain Cold. Yep, they appear here too. Great to see them. We also have more. We have Solomon Grundy. Yep, people know who this guy is. We also have Mongol. Yeah, in the movie, the reason why he's here because he's being brainwashed. Yeah, that's the reason why he's here. Despite the fact he has War World. In the movie, they explained that he was brainwashed by somebody. And of course, Lady Shiva is here. Which, remember, I don't think she was ever in the movie. Nope, I don't think she ever was. Of course, Lady Shiva gets knocked out by Batman. I think he punches her, but I don't think he showed it on screen. And then, of course, they're attacked by Nightshade. Yep, the Steve Ditko character who actually joined the Suicide Squad. Though they do get away, and then, of course, they're confronted by several other villains. Let's see, there's Jack Frost, Giganta, Mirror Master, Cheetah, Killer Frost. I'm trying to think who else on this page here. I'm not sure who the guy. I don't think that's. I'm not sure who the other two are. Yeah, these two, I don't remember who these two are, but I do recognize a lot of villains on this page. Also, if you look at Gigantic, I'm thinking, wait, why the heck is she wearing a leotard, even though that during this period of time she actually wore an actual jumpsuit? Like, why? I don't know why. And then they're attacked by, well, the heroes. Which is most of the line they appear in the movie. We have the John Stewart Green Lantern, Starfire, Major Force, Power Girl, Katana, Captain Atom, and Black Lightning. Yep. Yeah, a team sanctioned by the president, Lex Luthor, to capture these two. And they fight, basically, for the next couple issues. Also, Superman takes Power Girl. In the comic, Supergirl, if you watch the movie, they actually have a little subplot for Power Girl, where she actually questions the whole thing about Batman and Superman being enemies. And you want to know who voices her in the movie? A woman who's going to go to jail soon. Allison Mack. Yes, because in the actual... I know I'm making comparisons to the actual movie itself. But you can't deny the fact that there's so many comparisons to the actual adaptation that came several years after the storyline wrapped up. Now, of course, Superman, Batman, and Lex Luthor are voiced by the actors who play them on their respective TV shows. Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy. Tim Daly, who does Superman. I believe Lex is voiced by the actor who plays in the show. I don't think that Metallo is voiced by the actor. I don't think he's voiced by the same guy who voiced him in the TV show. I think they changed his voice actor. And look, here's a familiar sight. Lex gets Amanda Waller. Yep. For, like, no reason. In the comic, there's no reason for this. Though, in the movie, they say, oh yeah, because she wants him, he wants her to be in, like, his reign of terror against Superman. And she wants nothing to do with it at all. Oh yes, and here's something interesting, though. A few characters who actually do not appear in the actual movie. We have the Alan Scott Green Lantern, J. Garrett Flash, and Mr. Terrific, before they talk to Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, and Hawkman. Yeah, these two do appear in the movie. These three don't. Nope, they don't. Yeah. And of course, they fight for a while. And of course, they apparently look like they're defeated, but not really. Yeah. Yeah, then we have appearance by Superboy. We have, I think this is one of the Supergirl from the future. I don't remember her name. And you're probably thinking, who is that? That's Natasha Irons, a.k.a. Steel, the niece of John Henry Irons, the original Steel. That's her outfit, what she looked like pre-Flashpoint. Yeah, before they changed it for the current continuity. And then we have this really odd page of just Huntress, Tindray Garaba, and Nightwing just meeting in some place to discuss the deal with Batman. And then they get the crap beat out of him by frickin' Lex Luthor. Yep. Oh yeah, and they also have this weird scene of Superboy getting trapped with the Supergirl from the future. And she's like, Lex Luthor squishes it. Why couldn't this be a Power Girl? What'd you say? Nothing. That was nothing. I heard what you said. What'd you ask for? God, can't you get any worse? Oh no, Kryptonite. That's it. I'm personally gonna see this guy doesn't get reelected. Of course he doesn't. I thought that was kind of hilarious. Oh yeah, there's also appearance by the Cassandra Cain Batgirl. Yep. I'm sure that Linkara, who's a big fan of Cassandra Cain Batgirl, I like the character too, but my gosh, the one-sided battle of Lex Luthor beating up 4 superheroes just because he can. Oh yeah, then we have Captain apparently pop up in the future where he meets up with the Kingdom Come Superman. And then we have them breaking like, oh, then we have Captain Marvel. Thank you, Captain Marvel, for coming in. And then he grabs him by the neck and feels, it's not Captain Marvel, it's Superman who took his costume. Yes, in this movie too. So, and Lex Luthor's like, screw it, I'm injecting myself with more Kryptonite stuff and putting myself in my classic war suit. Oh, fun fact about the war suit. Do you know who designed the actual original look for the war suit? Neil Adams. Yes, Neil Adams designed the original suit. Which, that is really cool, the fact if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Superman, Batman, and Robot, which this does appear in the movie, except that they actually don't show here the creator there very much. Yeah, it's the Japanese toy man. Also in this scene, you might find this might find it interesting though. Power Girl actually appears in this scene in the movie. Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing: when Toyman first shows up and he looks at Supergirl, what does he look at? Her breast. Of course he is. And then basically, instead of now in the movie, they actually had it where Batman pilots this thing to take out the kryptonite. In the comic, it was Captain Atom. Yep. And he pilots the robot to destroy the actual meteorite, while Superman beats the crap out of Lex Luthor. Yep. Of course, the actual meteorite is destroyed. Oh yeah, and then we have really interesting scene where Lex is back and Lex goes like, "Why is my building empty for?" Well, that's because Talia Head, aka Talia Ghul, the mother of Damian Wayne, this actually is a few years before he found out about it, that pretty much she took everything took all his assets, sold everything to Wayne Enterprises. So basically, he says Lex, "You're prejudice, Luthor. As of this morning, Bruce Wayne owns his property, and he wants you out of this building." And he's like, "Who do you think you're talking to? I'm the President of the United States." He's like, "You remember Bane, don't you? How you broke your back?" Wow, a nod to Nightfall, even though it had been... Actually, I think at this point, been 10 years, so good nod to that. You may how, yeah, basically he wants to be like how Bane did. And then we have Lex basically falling out, like, he falls out of the building, and apparently he's declared fugitive, and he's removed from office, off screen. In the actual, here's the thing, in the movie, they actually made a change to this particular scene to where he didn't get away with declared fugitive. He was actually caught, arrested, and then impeached. Though in the comic, he was replaced by Pete Ross as president for at least a couple of years, before he resigned. Also, you might find this interesting, though. Black Lightning was a member of Lex Luthor's cabinet. He was actually the Secretary of Education. And then we have issue 7 called Protege, which is a story done by Pat Lee. It's not terrible artwork. Pat Lee has got a really very mixed reputation as an artist. He tends to draw people very weirdly. He's not very popular with a lot of people. I don't mind his background. Backgrounds look really good. It's how he draws faces looks so awkward. It's like he just redraws the same facial expression, makes people's faces so pointy. Yeah. So mostly this is not focused on Batman and Superman. Oh no, this is a focus on Superboy, Tim Drake Robin. So they go talk to the Japanese toy man, which is a whole issue dedicated to him, where they fight his robots, which is really cool. And then, of course, they just walk away. Now, the next story arc is not done by Ed McGuinness. Nope, this is done by the late Michael Turner. Yes, the same guy who co-created Witchblade. So, if you notice, man, this looks like a lot of the same artwork that basically was used for Witchblade, because the same artist. Now, the original story arc for this one is called Supergirl, which is the original trade. It's called that. This story arc was actually adapted for the following movie, Public Enemies, Apocalypse. Now, the original plan was to call it Supergirl, but it changed to Apocalypse because of the Wonder Woman DVD sales. Because apparently, according to someone at DC Animation, they apparently didn't like the sales. They thought the sales were too low, and they probably think the movie actually bombed in DVD sales. They changed the name to Apocalypse. Mostly this does follow the same story. Yeah. Where it's like right after the events of Superman Public Enemies, we have Batman swimming in the water and finding Kira's ship and, of course, encountering her. There's a little bit more here they actually have in the movie. They cut a lot of this out. Where, right after this, next time we see Supergirl, she's actually in the Batcave. Yeah, they cut a lot of this out, which is quite interesting. I don't mind how Michael Turner draws Supergirl. It actually looks really good. Yes. So, here's the thing. Jeph Loeb was creative for creating this version of Kira Sorrell. The original one is not his creation. He basically just brought back... This is actually the first post-crisis appearance of Supergirl that is actually the Kara Zor-El Supergirl. Not the Lana Danvers Supergirl from 90s. Oh no, this is the original Supergirl. You have her, and the first part of this issue, she's basically completely naked but a coat. And of course, Superman's contacted. And of course, she's examined. A lot of this stuff was cut from the movie. Yeah, I like a lot of it. Yeah, and then of course that, oh yeah, this is actually his cousin, Kara Zor-El. Which I love what they do here. They go back to the actual, like, now they changed the scene in the movie, where in the movie they actually had this in the Batcave. And basically you have, well, Supergirl ripping off a door. Oh yeah, and then Clark mentioning, oh yeah, I'll pay for that. And then of course Batman points out, on a reporter's salary. I thought that was so hilarious. And Krypto basically not liking Supergirl very much. Well, Kira. Yeah, then of course you show her on the Fortress, which I thought was really cool. A lot of really cool moments here. And then we have the Female Furies show up. Yep, the Female Furies. This is most of the actual Female Furies basically been around. Stampa, Lasha, Galatea, Bernitha, and Mad Harriet. Yeah, this is them. This is a slight redesign of the Jack Kirby version. Yeah, and then of course you have Supergirl trying to integrate the society. We actually, fun fact about this statue. The last time this statue actually appeared was actually on the cover of Adventures Superman 624. So, great nod to Michael Turner. I love the fact he put this in here. This is a great looking statue. Because if you look at the cover of 624, that's the same, actually it's not 624, it was, no, it was, I think, what was it? Was it 524? Yeah, I think it was 524, I think it was. No, it was 424. Yeah, 424. Excuse me. Yeah, it was 424. That was the actual first appearance, the first time we saw the statue. The reason why the statue, because of Superman's apparent death and death of Superman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, then of course, she's confronted by Harbinger. Yep, Harbinger. Which, she's not played active roles since Christ and Verbs. Like, after that event happened, she did nothing. The only thing she popped up in after that was part of a New Guardians. And after that, she didn't do very much. And then they're attacked by Artemis. And then they're brought to the Themyscira by Wonder Woman. Fortunately, he's trained her in combat, which, well, then you have Superman acting a bit out of character, grabbing Artemis by the throat. Yeah, he doesn't do this in the movie. Nope, they actually didn't want him grabbing a woman. So, and then we have these Doomsdays pop up. Yes, this happened in the movie as well. And then we have a big epic battle. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Themyscira, the Amazons, and a bunch of everybody else just beating the crap out of these Doomsdays. Oh yeah, and it's also feel in this issue that Harbinger died. Yep, Harbinger died. Apparently Loeb killed her off probably because no one was using her. So basically they decided to go to Apocalypse. Yep. So before they go, they break into Big Barda's house. Which, yes, they do this in the movie, though. In the movie, it's slightly different how the house looks. And yes, Big Barda is really this tall. Yeah, she's actually taller than her husband. Which, in my opinion, Scott Free, you are one lucky guy to get this beautiful woman as your wife. And then later on in a limited series with Tom King. Tom King wrote it where basically that these two slept together many times in the series, and then they had a child together. Yes, they had a child together. Which, if I get a chance to talk about that series, it is amazing how good that series is. Mm-hmm. And then we have, well, Big Barda put on her classic Jack Kirby look, which is so good. And then they decided to go to Apocalypse to rescue Supergirl. They had the Female Furies. And then finally they come across, well, after battling a bunch of dogs and whatever. And then, of course, we have Kara looking like this. Yes, she is in this movie as well. Which basically Darkseid decided to have her get brainwashed. So, they fight. And, of course, you have Wonder Woman fighting the Female Furies, which is so awesome. Eventually, they do get rid of the brainwashing. Batman pulls off some armor, which he does not do in the movie. Nope, doesn't in the movie at all. He fights Darkseid. And then you have Kira put on her actual outfit she would wear for pretty much up until the Flashpoint reboot. Yeah, this very costume. This is the first appearance of this very costume. I believe this is issue number... Oh, I think it's 12, isn't it? Let's see. 6. So I think, yeah, that was 12, because in the movie, this is how it ended with basically Supergirl flying off. Which they actually put this next scene before that, with Apocalypse coming to Earth. Yes, Apocalypse coming to Earth and coming to the Kent farm. And of course, maybe the crap out of him. Wonder Woman shows up to help him out. And then of course he's sent away to the Source Wall. And the appearance by John Jones, another character who does not appear in the movie. I think he's one of a few characters, like there's a lot of characters absent from the action movie itself. And then of course, Kira basically is just, well, shown around that she's offered to join many different teams. She's offered to join the Teen Titans, the Outsiders, the JSA, the Jail. She's basically introduced everybody to them. And then she says thank you to everybody, and that's how the book ends. It's an absolute really good book. Yeah, I know I'll pretty much talk a lot about this book for about a half hour, but this book is just so freaking good. I give this book roughly, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's really good stories here. Emma Gates' artwork, love it. And I love Michael Turner's artwork here. That was really well done. The only artwork I found was pretty weak in here was Pat Lee's. But no bad issue, this whole bunch. Alright, now final thoughts on Jeph Loeb's run for the book. Yeah, this is something interesting about Jeph Loeb. Out of all the writers who wrote this series, Jeph Loeb had the longest run of the book, 26 issues. All but 2 were collected in trade when the trades were originally released. Yeah, the only issues were not collected in the original printing were 7 and it was 7 and 26. Yeah, for some reason they didn't do that. For some reason, yeah, I'm not really sure why. Yeah, those were not the only ones. They skipped over a lot of issues. Like of the trades I covered so far, which is the first 6, which covered the first 75 issues of the series. These following issues they skip over. They skip over 6. 19, though they do put it in this trade here. This goes over 26, 27, 34 to 36, 43, 57 to 70, and that's it. And, oh yeah, they also did include the first frickin' 3 annuals. Because all they were just basically modern retellings of classic stories. But lucky enough, these type of trades actually collected it. Yep. But I love the Super Batman series. It is so freaking good. Like, if you love the Super Bat movies, I highly recommend checking these out and check out the original source material and how much stuff was changed from the action movie itself. The movie itself was released several years after these stories were completed. And it is shocking, though, they never did another movie after Super Bat Apocalypse, because there's a lot of still good stories here. Don't know why they never collected. Don't know why. Alright, next up it is Suicide Squad Bad Blood. Yep, this contains the entire 6th volume for Suicide Squad. Yep, they put it on one trade because it feels like a complete story here. This, of course, written by Tom Taylor. And this is one of those titles I question why they end it and then they just relaunched it. Yeah, the book got relaunched just a couple months ago. Yeah, it was actually relaunched back in March. Yeah, for like no reason. They ended this book after like 11 issues. I'm like, why? Yeah, the ending of this title really made no sense, basically, to end it. Now, this book doesn't technically feel like regular Suicide Squad, because it seems like they're like almost every like C-list villain I can think of in this book. Now, of course, the field leader of this book is, in fact, Deadshot. First time since the Am Glass run, basically, he's done that. And if you read these issues, there's one character, very important character, who was featured in the previous line for Suicide Squad, but not featured here, Rick Flag. Yeah, he is nowhere to be seen. And a lot of the characters pop in this book are really new characters. You see, they also mentioned apparently in the past, KG Beast as part of this team. Yes, KG Beast and Killer Croc as a past incarnation of the Suicide Squad. Okay, King Shark is still here. He doesn't do very much. Not really, no. But they added these following people. They added Magpie and the Cavalier. Like, Magpie, I think she's popped up once or twice part of this. Cavalier, like, oh my gosh, this guy. Like, if you don't know who this guy is, this is a guy who basically battles Batman with a freaking sword. Yeah, he's a minor villain. He's basically he's a C-list villain who's popped up occasionally over the years. Like, before this book, he never appeared prior to this. Nope, never did. And look, there's Magpie right there. They kill her off in the opening issue. Yes, Magpie is a creation of John Byrne. First appeared in the Man of Steel miniseries. And look, this guy here, the guy with the mask, that's the Cavalier. Of course, King Shark, obviously, in the middle. Harley Quinn's here, along with this Zebra Man, which is interesting to say the least. There's actually two artists in this book. Bruno Rodino and Daniel Sampari, who actually does some of the Future State stuff after this. Yep. Now, in this book, they keep replacing characters with these new ones. They have these brand new characters. There were several new characters they have in here, like Locke. He's actually a representative of the guy who, yeah, apparently in this run, apparently there was a hostile takeover of the Suicide Squad, and Wally got replaced. Yep. Wally got replaced. And nobody knew who was behind it for quite some time. So the actual person behind it was not revealed to the very end. Of course, you have Deadshot in the classic look. He actually doesn't put on the mask until toward the end of the book. These new characters, Ostia and Jog. Wink and Arene, who I believe these two are lovers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they confirm these two actually are wives. Chaos Kitten, Trey Lance, Scale and Finn, Deadly Six, that's really what this guy is called, and the TN Teens. Yep. Now, of course, they do random missions, and also, the Zero Man is forced to protect Locke, despite the fact no one likes this guy, and they refuse to take orders from him. Because when it comes to Suicide Squad, it's Waller running the team. Oh yeah, and these guys don't have bombs on their necks. They got neck tattoos that explode. Okay, that's different. What happened to the brain bombs? Who the heck knows? Yeah, and nobody liked this, and Floyd has no choice but to obey. And eventually, he convinces Zeman to basically stop using the force field and kills Locke. Oh, and who took over this group? Well, apparently, it was Ted Kord, the Blue Beetle, who took over Suicide Squad. But nope, that was later to be a lie. The actual person who did this was Black Mask. I am not kidding about that. They had freaking Black Mask be the one responsible who took over the Suicide Squad. I'm thinking, Black Mask? That made no freaking sense. There's even appearances by Batman in this book. Yes, freaking Batman. Also, and this is something I did not like. Now, the Black Mask reveal was actually quite interesting. The one thing I did not like about this book, and a lot of people would point this as the stupidest thing that Tom Taylor did with this book. He killed Deadshot. Yep, killed Deadshot. And currently, he is still dead. They have not undone this death in the current Suicide Squad book. Nope. As a matter of fact, Harley Quinn is not even part of this team anymore. Nope, this was the last time because they replaced her. Yes, Harley Quinn is no longer part of the Suicide Squad after she was part of the group since 2011. So after 9 years of running with the Suicide Squad, she's no longer on the roster. Of course, Captain Boomerang was written out of the series with the previous volume, so you can't blame Tom Taylor for that. You gotta blame that Rob Williams. Yeah, so Captain Boomerang was actually briefly capped by the Suicide Squad, and that's what gave Deadshot basically reason to kill Locke and go after the axe person, Ted Kord, and then revealing it was actually Black Mask. At one point, they thought it was Superman who captured Ted Kord, but this was actually just Black Mask posing as him. Yeah, apparently, Black Mask got his hands on this technology allows him to change his appearances, which is interesting to say the least. They do actually take off his mask, something that very rarely happens in comics, taking out Black Mask's actual mask. and feels he's actually a burn victim, which is something they never brought up before. Yeah, how he got this mask is quite disgusting. Basically, he robbed his father's grave and removed his father's dead skin they put on his face. If you don't believe me, read Batman 386. That was the first appearance of Black Mask, and you would understand that this backstory is completely disgusting of how he gets this stupid mask. When a lot of people see him as a DC Red Skull knockoff, just by appearance-wise. Was the book fun? Oh yeah, the book was pretty fun. And they say, oh yeah, this is the end of the Suicide Squad, despite the fact this was relaunched 7 months later. But this book's actually pretty good. The only fault I have for it was killing off Deadshot. I love Deadshot. I think he was a great character. I thought that I think like the best writer who did a really good job with Deadshot was John Ostrander. He did an absolutely fantastic job with him. Glass did an okay job with him. Rob Williams did an excellent job with him. And also, we actually had it where Zoe Lawton actually started using guns and called herself Live Shot as a tribute to her father. And plus, I love the ending where Harley Quinn is the one who talks to Zoe Lawton about her father, which kind of makes sense, given the fact they know each other. But here's the thing. In the comics, unlike in Assault Arkham, which, by the way, they actually had that for the opening story arc of the current run, where they call it Assault Arkham, which is a nod to the action movie Assault Arkham. Yeah, in that movie, Harley Quinn and Deadshot had sex. I am not kidding about that. They seriously did. Well, off screen, mind you. And Deadshot is like, oh, why the hell not? I mean, Harley Quinn's hot. She's naked in his bed. He's like, why not? In the comic, they never did this at all. The only person she ever slept with in the comic was Rick Flag, and then that was so brief, they just basically forgot about it. That was, of course, Rob Williams doing that. But reading this, you're like, man, there's like so many characters who featured in the previous film. You're probably thinking, where's Katana in all this? Well, she went back to the Outsiders, where she basically is most associated with Killer Croc in like one issue, and that was it. Because I think Tom Taylor knew that Killer Croc had no business being part of the Suicide Squad, yet he was already here. Okay, I'm glad the fact they include King Shark here, which I thought was really cool, the fact they included him, because he is associated with the Suicide Squad, and I think it's great they included him. Magpie and the Cavalier, I thought it was kind of weird they included them, but why the hell not? I mean, it does feature them. I didn't like it. Now, Cavalier, I was actually quite surprised they killed him off. Now, in the book, they apparently didn't care about him, but I kind of like the Cavalier. He's a quite interesting character. Just keep him around. They could easily resurrect him if they wanted to, because he is quite interesting of a character. I mean, he's basically like a modern-day musketeer. He even quotes from the actual original story. Like, all for one, he's like, don't do that. Yeah, he's actually quoting the actual famous, like, motto of the Three Musketeers. Yep. Magpie, she's a character who I didn't have a really big problem with her being here. It's just that why kill her off in their opening issue? That just didn't make any sense to me. But the biggest fault with this run was the death of Deadshot. I didn't like the fact to kill him off. Why would you kill off such a well-developed character like Deadshot? At least he came out as a hero. I hope at some point they resurrect him, because this was absolutely a really dumb idea. They kill off freaking Deadshot. And I explained to the comic owner that Harley Quinn's not in the current book at all. Nope, she's not in there at all. As a matter of fact, the guy who owns the comic shop where I live, I was telling him about this, and he was surprised at the fact that the current lineup is nothing like when people think of Suicide Squad. There's no Deadshot, there's no Harley Quinn, no Captain Boomerang. It's a team led by the Peacemaker, where it includes the William Cobb talent, the one who's the great-grandfather of Dick Grayson. Superboy is there, along with a couple other characters. It's a very small incarnation. This one is huge. Like, this is unnecessarily huge. Yes. Now, this trade paperback, in case you want, this actually is hardcover, is like $30, which, yeah, perfectly understandable why in the world they actually do that. Yeah. Okay, so they say this was a maxi series. I'm just reading this now. Collecting all issues of the critically acclaimed maxi series. Despite the fact this was promoted as an ongoing series in the solicits. and it was canceled at issue 11. Yeah, this makes no freaking sense at all. Basically, DC copying out the fact that there's an 11 issue run, this ongoing series, which you saw, anybody saw Solicitors, that's what it's promoted as, and it's a limited series. Yeah. So yeah, not much else to say about the Suicide Squad. This one was actually pretty good. Just the death of that show was the only thing I didn't like about it. Yeah. But it was pretty fun. Yes, it was. Okay, so that's that particular review. Stay tuned for my other views today, which will be reviews for the newest episode of Shaman King, How Not the Sim Devil, which I'll probably do that first. Of course, 7 Days supposed to do this yesterday, but I couldn't because I was only here yesterday for like an hour before I had to go to my grandmother's house because, well, here's the thing. At my house currently, we have no running water. No, it's not due to bills not being paid. That's not the reason. The pipes are being cleaned. That's the reason why we have no running water right now. It's going to be a bit before we actually running water again. Surprisingly. And this is probably one of my longest comic corners I've done in quite some time. So, yeah, this is going to take a while for you to sit through. Especially since there was a lot to talk about when it came to Superman Batman. Yep. So, yeah, that's a particular review. Take to my other reviews at Possible Comic Corner. And you might be asking, okay, what about Two Levels of Darkness? That may happen today. It's a maybe. I can't be definite for that. Okay? Just video. Bye.